coming up in our community. So today, no surprise to you, but we're going to talk about the bond that's on our the ballot that you can either vote early today or tomorrow or on Tuesday, April 5th. But wanted to talk through the process, how we got here, and then really spend most of the time for our Fire Chief Terry Essary and our Assistant Fire Chief Brandon Holcomb to talk specifically about our station and the need to relocate into a new spot. The TIME projects, this is just an extension of what we've been working on for the past year. So TIME stands for Together Investing in Municipal Excellence. It's something that I believe strongly in, that if we want to continue living in a community that's moving forward, one that we're proud of, it takes each and every one of us to invest in it together. So whether it's your business or you individually or schools, it doesn't matter. It takes all of us on all sides to work together to make sure that we're investing in our community to be one that is municipal excellence, something that we believe strongly in. I won't spend long on this slide because when I talked about the transportation tax, we discussed this as well. But Oklahoma is the only state that does not allow ad valorem or property taxes for general fund. So whenever we're looking at projects such as a new fire station, it's important to look at other revenue sources outside of our general fund and our sales tax dollars. And a general obligation bond or a GO bond is the traditional source that municipalities within Oklahoma use for such projects as this. It's also the source that we've used to build our other fire stations within Stillwater as well. They were all built through a GO bond. This is just a quick look at our current fiscal year 22 budget. I showed this slide when we talked through the transportation sales tax, but it just gives you a good glimpse of what our anticipated general fund revenue sources equaling 24 million. That was the anticipation in our budget. And then if we just look at departments mandated by state law, so that's the city manager, fire, police, finance, and legal, at 22.2 million, that is almost completes our what we anticipate seeing in revenue in our budget, which is why just speaks to the need of looking at additional revenue sources to fund these larger projects outside of our general fund. So specifically, general obligation bonds, as I mentioned, it's funded by ad valorem taxes or property taxes. So with this one specifically, if passed, it would affect those of you who own property within city limits. It requires a majority vote by citizens. And this is the most common way cities pay for larger public projects. And like I mentioned, our fire stations that we currently have were built through city bonds. The last city municipal bond, and I like to mention this in groups where I don't have a PowerPoint to share to see if you can guess when our last bond passed was, because it's pretty surprising that 1999 was our last successful bond. Greta, were you even alive in 1999? No. So we have a whole full human here that is now in existence, and she wasn't even alive when our last bond was passed. I was just getting my driver's license in 1999. Sarah, what were you doing in 1999? Also, so all this to say, it's time. It's time to work together in our community and help out Tim here. He's having a sorry about that. And to invest in our community, and a bond is one way that we can come together and do this. So our last bond that we successfully passed as a community in 1999, it was for our current city hall and police station. That was for $14.7 million, and that was paid off in this last summer of June 2021. So currently we have no outstanding general obligation bond debt as a municipality. If you have not yet voted, you can see what your ballot will look like. This is the only question on there. It's just if you live in city limits, the only question on the ballot will be about this fire station, and that's the language and the way that it'll look on your ballot. And then a lot of, one of the questions we get asked a lot, which is a very good question, is how will it affect me as a property owner? What's the cost that's associated with this? The median valued house within city limits is right under $200,000. So if you own property that's assessed at $200,000, it's looking at about $33 a year increase to your property taxes. So you can look at this and see approximately where you fall based on the assessed value of your property within city limits. So $33 a year. I don't know if any of you stopped by coffee shop this morning on your way to work, but that's about 6 coffees that equal the amount that would be added annually on your property tax. So it's a cost, yes. It's an increase, yes. But it also is a small cost for the reward we get with increasing public safety for our community and the investment that we're including into our community. So with that, I would like to invite up our fire chief. He's going to talk through our the specifics about Fire Station 2, and then really we want to have some questions and discussion as we move forward.
All right, Becky, thank you. All right, how is everybody doing? All right, I see a lot of familiar faces. Thank you for having us back. We appreciate you guys and the service that all of you do for our community. My name's Terry Essary. I've been fire chief for 15 months, give or take. But I've been in Stillwater as a firefighter since '97. Trent's retired as our fire marshal. Got to serve with Trent. And we have a new assistant chief, Brandon Holcomb. And Brandon, what year did you start with our department? 2005. Okay. So we do have 4 stations in the city of Stillwater. And Brandon and I have both served a lot of years at all 4 of them. So we're familiar with all of them. Of course, today we're talking about Station 2, the relocation of it. And just the first question that I typically get asked is what's going to happen to the current Fire Station 2? And which is a great question because it's a big part of our community. It's a big part of obviously the history of our department, but the history of the fire service, not just for the state, but for the nation and even for the world, as far as that goes. And it's not going anywhere. Okay. I've actually received a couple of emails this week wanting to know when we're moving out because they're wanting to move in. Yeah, like, well, give us a little bit of time. But it's a protected building, so OSU is gonna do whatever they feel like is best with it, but it's not gonna go anywhere. It's still gonna remain a very solid piece of our community and land. So that's question one. Of course, that building was built in 1938. And so we've been in there 83 plus years. Our lease is going to be up in 2038. So they want it back. So we're going to have to do something, obviously, and the sooner we do it, the better it's going to be. And rebuilding there, tearing that building down, not an option. And just completely refinishing it and redoing it as a fire station would be a lot higher than $9 million. I'm sure Roger could kind of throw a ballpark out there, but I can't imagine how much that would be. But anyway, that's not really an option for us. So we've got to do something. It does have a fire alarm, but it doesn't have sprinklers. And the fire alarm is something we added on the back end, so it's not built for that. And it just gets us by. It's not a sprinkler building. It is 2 and 3 stories. The 3rd story we do not go into because of asbestos and lead paint issues. And but we do have a 2nd story, but we use it to work out in, but we don't spend a lot of time there. There's no elevator. There's obviously no tornado shelter. And, a building that was built in 1938 has asbestos in it. It has lead paint and lead pipes, so we deal with all those issues too. So we want to get a facility for our firefighters that are safe and modern. And it wasn't built for female firefighters. So obviously we're a diverse community, we're a diverse department, and we need a facility for all of our firefighters. And right now we don't have that there. Our new ladder truck, OSU branded, partnership between Payne County, the OSU, and of course the city of Stillwater. It doesn't fit in the current station. It's branded OSU. It's a beautiful truck, and it really needs to be there. But we had to design it in such a way that it will fit on our narrow streets. All right, you guys know how narrow our streets are around campus. That's on a good day. That's when people are parking where they're supposed to be, which is never. there may be about 4 days out of the year when that happens. But so we still have to, obviously, we still have to get our trucks into those places. Well, what that means is we've got to shorten the wheelbase so we can make quarters, but we still have to carry the same amount of equipment, so the trucks have to get taller. Yeah, but unfortunately, we really can't adjust our fire station height. It is what it is, so it won't fit. So and this is another thing that you guys need to be aware of. The exhaust capture system. That's another thing. There's a lot of exhaust that goes into the bay, straight into the living area, the kitchen area, the sleeping areas. So that's a big issue. We all know that diesel fumes cause cancer, and that is a big hazard that we need to take care of. The bay doors are, well, they were put there in 1938. We've had to replace several of them just because of the age, but they're very, very slow to raise, and they're not safe. There's no safety mechanisms on them. They will fall, and there's nothing to stop them. They have fallen on our fire trucks before. Foundational issues, we talked about the lead paint, the asbestos. Energy efficiency is non-existent there. The heat is 100% supplied by the steam pipes, so it's either all the way on, which is handy sometimes. Most time it's not, or it's all the way off. So it's very, very hard to heat and cool, which makes it very uncomfortable and expensive. The training tower, we have a pigeon issue in the training tower, which that's a whole nother situation that we could talk about that you probably wouldn't believe me if I told you, but we do have a remediation company trying to take care of the pigeons, but it takes apparently months to do that. And they're still trying to teach the pigeons to go somewhere else because we don't want to harm the pigeons. We just have to retrain them, and that takes some time. So we can't use our drill tower. I'm not making it up. I couldn't make that up. I really couldn't. We talked about the co-ed facilities with the lack of, so showers and all that. And there's a map that shows the blue outline is the current 4-minute response time. So kind of our gold standard for if you call 911, we want to be able to be to your emergency within 4 minutes once our wheels start rolling. Okay, the first engine. And so you can, and what that blue outline is a representation of that 4 minutes. It's obviously it's not a perfect circle, but it goes by roadways and in drive time. And you can see that there is station 3's on top, station 1's on the bottom, and there's a lot of that 4 minutes circle or whatever you want to call it, certain 4-minute area that's covered by station 3 and station 1 and station 2, which affords less people that 4-minute response time capability. So by shifting it up to the north and to the west, it gives more of our citizens the ability to get that first engine for a medical call, fire, whatever the emergency is within 4 minutes. And that's a picture of our fire trucks are not quite that big, but as much as they cost, you would think they would be. But that's the location that we're looking at. It's halfway in between McElroy and Lakeview on Western. And as you can see, that is the ropes course is kind of to the east of it, to the north and to the east. You can barely see it it's my left. But you'll notice this is the new hot spot for watching the sunset in Stillwater, apparently. And which honestly is pretty cool out there. Yeah, it's a great spot. But don't be afraid. We're still going to leave plenty of room for people to come watch the sunset, and they're welcome to come watch it with us. So just have a fire engine close by. So for the city as a whole, we're looking to reduce response times. Talked about the 4 minutes. Fire Station 2 currently, again, there's a lot. I mean, the population is, where it's at, the population is extremely dense there, right? Obviously, we all know that, which is good and which also makes it bad because it's hard to get in and out of there. We have foot traffic, bicycle traffic, car traffic, and everybody's in a hurry because everybody's got the most important thing in the world to go to and nobody wants to stop. And sometimes I'm guilty of that too. So getting fire trucks in and out of there can be very, very tricky. And that's on a good day. There's no stoplight there. It's not really meant for a stoplight, and we have to stop traffic to back our trucks, get them back in the station because you can't pull through. Parking there is an issue. Becky, did you talked about the ISO thing, right? You did not. Okay. So our insurance services office rating right now is at a 2, which is really, really good. I'm going to brag on our people right now because that is a really good number. But we're not happy with a 2. We want a 1. 1's the best. And we're never going to stop trying until we get to a 1. And then we're going to hold on to it with dear life when we get there. And this is part of a plan to help get us closer to that. Response times really factor into that. Locations of the fire stations are a big part of that. And just to kind of give you a ballpark number, right now we are at a 2. We were at a 3, and when you move from a 3 to a 2, you decrease your insurance rates by approximately 4%. And again, there's some companies that don't use the ISO rating at all. It just depends on who you use. But for the folks that use it, it's about 4%. And to go to a 2 to 1 is about another 4%, up to 8%, but realistically a 4% decrease. There is a rendering of the station. It's kind of the concept of what it will look like. Orange doors, orange accents. It's going to fit in with the construction is going to not match exactly, but it's going to complement the flight center and the other buildings that are in the area. And we've been given tours at Fire Station 2. Haven't seen a lot of people come through there on the specific dates. We usually have people just show up at random times or just call and say, I can't make those dates or times, and we'll meet you there. I mean, this is your facility. We want you guys to see it. No matter how you vote, we want you to lay eyes on it and kind of get a feel for what you got there. Okay. I'm sure there's plenty of questions, and we will try to answer them the best that we possibly can.
Coverage map.
Yeah.
There you go. When I was looking at the coverage map, it looks like you go fairly far east of campus. Will that change if you move to Western? That when you're
the circle?
Yeah.
As far as the response from Station 2?
Yeah.
So it will change a little bit, yeah. And really, the best answer I can give for your question, Rob, is we're fixing to get new dispatch software. And what that will do is that will tell the dispatchers, because it will be using GIS. And so, and it doesn't really matter which station is where, it'll send the closest unit.
Oh.
So there could be a crew getting, I don't know, groceries. And if they're closest, it's going to send them. So we're excited about that. So it's going to kind of redraw those lines in and of itself, the way the software is designed.
Yes, heating, ventilating, and air conditioning system draw on the OSU system? Will it be standalone? And if it's standalone, will it be ground source heat pump?
That is a fantastic question. I will get you the answer. I am not sure. But that is a good question, though. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be on the OSU system. My understanding is it will not. The square footage on this station is about 15,000 square feet. Yeah, and it's good. It's meant to be a 2-company station. And what that means is we'll have an engine company with 4 people on it, and we'll have the ladder company with another 4 to 5 people on it. And what we're doing is the battalion chief may also run out of there too. And the battalion chief is the shift commander, and they're a chief officer, but they still work shift work. Brandon and I, we work 8 to 5 or 7 to 7 or 24/7 or whatever we need to do. But the battalion chiefs still run with the firefighters and set up command on scene. So we're looking at putting them there too. But it's built for 10 firefighters and a 2-company station. And we definitely don't want to build something that is going to be too small by the time we move into it. We know the city's going to grow, and we want to grow with it reasonably so. So we want to make sure that we plan for the future also. So about 15,000 square feet. That's probably way more than you wanted to hear.
Terry, I was
Yeah.
listening this morning to you and Will. Good job. Will Joyce was on with you. And what earlier this week, the question came up, I saw in a certain newspaper in town, Rob's newspaper, News Press, right? News Press, that maybe the location, they were questioning
Yeah.
location.
Mhm.
And I thought you guys had a great way of explaining that. Yes, it's moving further away from campus, but
I am glad you asked that. So, and the person that wrote that article is a good friend of mine. He's a good firefighter. I served with him in that station, and so I'm very, very aware of maybe his perspective. But keep in mind, we didn't just take a dart and just blindfold ourselves and just throw it at the map. I mean, this was planned out using 10 years worth of data or more, using GIS information, using software that's way smarter than I am, saying, hey, this is a good location for a fire station. It's based on that 4-minute response time. So if you look at it, yeah, you're like, okay, the best place to be is the closest to all the people, but that's not, that's an opinion. Yeah. It really, there's something to be said for being on the periphery and being able to respond in, and not just to that location, but to all of Stillwater. So we're not looking just to help the west side of town, which it will. We're looking to help every part of town. And this is the part of a plan that's going to continue. I mean, we have folks on the eastern part of town, they need a fire station too. They do. We need one over there. But we know that we have to get our firefighters out of this station. So it's our biggest priority right now. So we're just starting to take bites out of the apple, if you will. So this is priority number one. So we'll attack this, and then we'll move down the road and we'll start attacking other things. We know the need is there, but we got to start somewhere. So.
And just for anyone that hasn't seen the editorial page, there's a lot of opinions on the editorial page, but the newspaper has editorialized for this. We think it's a great thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
To better engage how impactful this new fire station would be, off the top of your head, do you know which of the 4 stations received the most calls?
Station 2 receives the most calls. They do. Yes, you do.
If you want to go and vote today,
Yeah.
where do you go to vote?
Oh,
Not everybody's lived in Stillwater forever.
no, that is true. That is a great question. So I did go vote today, and it is at the Payne County Courthouse. What's the address? County Administration. See, that's good. Okay. 2nd floor. Yes. Yeah. You just have to fill out the green sheet, show them your ID, and they give you a card and a pen, and then it's that simple. Any other questions?
Hey, Terry, you also probably want to mention, you guys serve more than just Stillwater.
We do.
They also assist all Payne County fire departments when there's a fire.
We do.
And those of us that live outside the city, we do an association. We pay an association due to be a member of the Stillwater Fire Department. So if we have a fire, they come see us. So don't just look at the city boundaries when you think about where they do calls at. They also service some of us in the rural area.
Yeah, we do. We have a lot of calls in the rural area, and we, if we get a 911 call, we don't look at a map and say, well, oh, they're outside the city limits. We're going to work only 3 times. We're only 75% as hard. It doesn't matter to us. We're going to give everybody the same level of service if you need help. And I wish you could vote too. I wish you could vote. Yeah. 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 And to kind of add on your point, that rural fire subscription, every dollar that we get from that goes back into fire protection for our entire service area, every dollar. Okay, you guys taking notes? Yeah, got it. Okay. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I think you said you started with the department in 99,
97.
97.
Yeah.
So I'm curious about sort of the opinion among the firefighters over the years about the fire stations.
Mhm.
Was there a time when we all said we're going to stay here forever? It's kind of tradition, and then it kind of
Yeah.
evolved, and everyone was in favor of it. How did that
Yeah.
play out?
You're hitting on a really good point there. When you look at Fire Station 2, a lot of people see Fire Station 2 for what it was. And I get that. I totally understand that. And we do that with a lot of things. I know I do. And you kind of look past the fact that there's gaps around the doors and the foundation's crumbling and you're having to back apparatus in when you should be able to pull around. And you kind of forget how cold it is or how hot it is, and you forget how it's laid out, and it's not a modern facility. And there's a multitude of things we could talk about, but I think that people, by their very nature, they see what it was. And again, I understand, totally do, but it's time to get our folks out of there and get them in a safe, healthy facility that ultimately gets you help faster when you call for it, because that's really what it's all about.
So I recall recently that the airport has a new fire truck.
They do. Yeah.
Where is that housed and where is it staffed?
So it is, and they are separate from us. Now we assist them when they call, obviously, but it's at the fire station, or not the fire station on the airport grounds. And they have their own firefighters. It's not staffed 24/7. It's only staffed certain hours of the day and for certain flights. But of course, it's a very specialized piece of equipment, and it's green. It looks like Seattle Seahawks paid for it. But I love it. I think it's beautiful. I do, and I say that fondly. But they are separate from us, but we very much support them, and they'll support us too if need be. But they're at their airport. Oh yeah. Oh, I guess we do need to go. Well, thank you all for listening, and no matter how you feel, just go vote. And I know you will, because you're involved in the community, because you're here. So thank you all for that, and thanks for having us.
Thank you.